If you're hanging out on the north side of Houston, you've got to check out the Farm Drinkery. It's an awesome dive bar located in Spring off of Champions Forest in Louetta. They've got 22 beers on tap, which you know what that means. They are representing the H-Town beer scene. But that's not all. They got great food too. My personal recommendation is to try out the world-famous wings. But the only thing better than an awesome new dive bar is a beer and food discount. You heard it. Beering Ain't Easy podcast listeners can go in and give the code BeerNerd20 for 20% off your bill. That's BeerNerd20 for 20% off. Come for the great atmosphere and stay for the free high fives.
God damn, I need IPA.
This is Beering Ain't Easy, your podcast for beer humor, dad humor, and beer tastings from Texas and beyond. So crack one if you got one and turn it up.
Welcome to Beering Ain't Easy, Season 2, Episode 18 with Ryan and Drew.
All right, y'all. Last episode, we brought you an exclusive sneak peek of a new brewery coming to Houston. But this week, we're going back a little bit to our roots here, and we're going to do a famed Beering Ain't Easy beer experiment. Ryan, tell our listeners what we got today.
Yeah, we're dragging the bar back down to the normal level here. So we declared a couple episodes ago that stout season was over, right? And so what does that mean? That means pool season's coming. And when you're hanging out poolside trying to drink beer, what happens, Drew?
Your beer gets hot, man.
It gets hot. So you know what? We're going to try to figure out what beer style is best hot.
I think that is a great quest for us to solve. And you may ask yourself, why the hell are we over here drinking some hot beer? I mean, are we out of our minds? I mean, there's no way this tastes better. But there's some realistic scenarios where this is valuable information to you.
I mean, we always talk about, being dads. So you'll crack open a nice cold beer, and then immediately your kid wants you to play with them in the pool, wants you to chase them around, do, whatever. So you set that beer down, and then you come back 10, 15 minutes later. You're not going to stick that thing back in the fridge. You're going to drink it, right?
Yeah, we got to come back to that whole fridge beer concept. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a little bit of a twist on this experiment here. So you can go to websites, you can look at what beers taste best hot. Obviously, stouts are going to come up. You're going to get things like ESBs, maybe some Belgians, something really malty. But, I mean, who the hell is putting that in their cooler at the pool? Are you drinking barley wine out by the pool, Ryan? Maybe you are.
I'm slightly concerned thinking about someone doing that. That's like disturbing.
Yeah, you need the little pool gate if you're drinking barley wine by the pool, or the toddler gate. So we're going to take a variety pack from St. Arnold Brewing. You can get these variety packs anywhere in the city of Houston, and it's going to have more traditional styles that you're going to go to your kid's birthday party, you're going to go into a school party, and this type of beer people are going to have in their coolers. So we're going to taste those styles and tell you which one of those styles you want to grab if you know your kid's going to get all up in your business trying to drink that beer.
So I guess we want to just break down these beers real quick. What comes in the St. Arnold's variety pack? The first one is H-Town Pils.
Second one, we have got Fancy Lawnmower, which is a Kolsch.
And then the next one in there is Art Car IPA.
And we're rounding it out with St. Arnold Amber.
One of the classics.
The classics. So when we said warm beers, I asked Ryan, I was like, dude, so we're talking room temperature, right? And what was your answer on that, Ryan?
I don't remember. What did I say?
So Ryan said, room temperature is boring. I want to get this shit up to 80 degrees. So Ryan made us put the beers outside in the sun, because today is really the first day of summer. We're actually recording on Mother's Day here, being good husbands and doing a podcast during Mother's Day. But it's a high of 97, so it didn't take long to get those beers nice and warm out there.
Yeah, I think I had them in the sun for a while until they got warm, and then I moved them to the shade, where the temperature out there, I think, was 80, almost 85 or so. So, yeah.
Ryan is a man of precision, and so these beers, I'd be surprised if they're more than 3 degree difference from 80 degrees. So this is perfect, exactly what he's looking for.
I wanted to get weird, man.
So let's pick one to start with.
So, well, let's make some predictions.
Yeah.
I think we talked beforehand, we both agreed Amber would probably be the best, right? Like
Yeah,
the
malt wins.
maltiest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we feel pretty confident about that. What do you think is going to be the second best?
I'm going to go with the fancy lawnmower. I feel like that one, it's kind of, Kolsch's are a little funkier than a clean pills, but it may be good.
It's pretty easy to guess that maybe the art car will be the worst just because of the hoppiness. That might be a little weird. I was going to make a bold prediction that H-Town Pills was going to be second best, but when we were pouring them, I smelled it, and now I'm starting to think maybe the Lawnmower is going to be better. But you know what? I'm not wavering now. I'm sticking with it. H-Town Pills is going to be the second best.
I like the commitment there. The only reason I did not pick that one as my second is that I can think of, everyone's had those times in college where you make a beer run, but you didn't get it, you don't have it refrigerated, and you're trying to throw them in the cooler as fast as possible, and you're drinking like a light lager, macro lager, and oh my god, I don't know if there's anything worse than like a Keystone Light, and really it's super lukewarm. So I know H-Town Bills, I'm not going to compare it to Keystone Light, but that would be just a real disservice to St. Arnold. But style of beer, I'm worried about it.
That is fair.
And I think it's pretty fair that probably none of these beers taste better warm than they do cold. But we'll tell you by the end of the episode.
Stay tuned and see. All right, which one do we want to start with? Let's go in the order of introductions. How about that?
All right, so first one you announced was the H-Town Pills.
All right.
So let's see what the nose is like that you mentioned a second ago.
Yeah, it's a very earthy smell. I'll say that.
I was going to go stale bar, like the bar table where people spill a little bit on there.
Yeah.
It's pub
I can
smell.
see that. Pub scent.
Pub scent. It's still super clean.
I'm very surprised.
Like I thought it was going to kind of be a little wangy, but it's still a super clean drink.
Yeah. I took a sip and I was like trying to process how I was going to describe it, and yeah, I mean that's really all I can think of is like, wow, is it really that clean when it's warm?
So I think the way we need to do this is that for each of these beers, we need to say, I would drink this beer warm, or I would not drink this beer warm. And then at the end, we can say which one is the winner and loser.
I like it. So, Drew, would you drink this beer warm?
I actually would drink this beer warm. It is still really tasty.
I would definitely drink this beer warm.
Yeah.
That
that kind of blew my mind a little bit, but it's still very good.
That's 2 thumbs up right out of the gate.
And I'm going to make a bold statement. I don't think it's that much worse warm than it is cold. I think it maintained the things that make H-Town Pills good. I mean, obviously, I'm going to choose a cold one if I'm by the pool because you're trying to cut down your body temperature while you're drinking. But it's still pretty good.
Yep, wholeheartedly agree with that.
All right, what do we got next?
The second one was Lawnmower, the Kolsch style.
All right.
Have you noticed breweries that brew a quote-unquote Kolsch and how they kind of dance around the whole Kolsch name? Like this one says Kolsch style.
Yeah, what is that all about?
So technically, it's like the same thing with like champagne. It has to be brewed in a certain region. Technically, a Kolsch has to be brewed, I think, in the Cologne region. And that's the only place you can actually brew a true Kolsch. So you see some breweries that ignore that and just still call it a Kolsch, but then a lot of places like St. Arnold's where they say Kolsch style ale.
Oh, so it's kind of like champagne. You're really not,
exactly.
Sparkling wine versus champagne.
Yeah, so my brother actually brews a Kolsch. And they call it air quotes because every time you say Kolsch, you do the air quotes because it's not technically a Kolsch.
Interesting. I do want to comment, just with all these St. Arnold beers poured next to each other, just like the clarity through each of these beers, this quality control is just top notch at St. Arnold. So they're pretty.
Yeah, that is very true. So I'm pleasantly surprised again. I actually took a sip and I immediately went back for a second sip. What do you think of this one?
I've always thought a fancy lawnmower is not one of my favorite beers, but I'm agreeing that this is enjoyable. I'm thinking, I wish we had our thermometer from our other episode. We may be dipping into the 70s on this, but
yeah, I think during setup they started to cool down a little bit after we brought them inside because it have that.
It doesn't have that lukewarm feel to it. So I don't know if we're doing it. Just bear with us here, listeners. That it may not be a true 80 degrees, but it's still warmer than typical room temperature.
Yeah. So I actually think this one's super clean as well. And it ends with like kind of like a little bit of like a sweetness to it.
Yeah.
That I think lends itself better to like it being warm. It just kind of finishes a little bit nicer. So I'm actually going to give the nod to Lawnmower over H-Town.
Okay.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'm going to, before the end of the episode, I'm going to like put a side by side on those two because I'm not sure. I'm kind of neck and neck with the two.
I like it. We'll put a pin in those. And then we'll move on to what we generally consider is going to be the worst.
Art Car, which is, by the way, a fantastic IPA when cold. I will say, being warm, that hop aroma just hits you in your face. Like, you're like 4 feet away from this glass, and it just whacks you right in the face.
Yeah.
I think out of the three we've had so far, I'd probably actually say I wouldn't drink this one warm. It's not bad, but it's not as enjoyable as the other two.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew going in this might be the least favorite, and that's how it's holding so far for me. Yeah, but overall, I mean, like, there's probably a couple IPAs where if it was warm, I would like probably do a drain pour on it. I would like finish this one, but I wouldn't get another one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because I went into this thinking, I mean, my experience with warm beer is usually like you're just trying to wolf it down, but you end up pouring half of it out. And I'm pleasantly surprised with these St. Arnold beers. And so maybe the variety pack is where it's at. So before we get too far here, I want to circle back to this comment that you made earlier. You're talking about you're distracted when you're drinking your beer. You got to go upstairs, put your kid down for bedtime. What do you do? Do you take your open beer and do you put it back in the refrigerator, or do you leave it on the counter? I feel like this is a philosophical question here.
So it says a lot about a person.
Yeah. What do they do?
I just set it down on the counter. What do you do?
I've tried to put it in the fridge, but once it goes in the fridge, it's never coming back out. I don't know what it is about that. It's like, whether it's Cokes, whether it's beers, I don't know if I feel like it's going to get flat in there, and I feel like it's going to absorb the flavor of the fridge, and it's like a mental thing where I'm like, no, that beer's done.
So I think that's the part for me is I feel like I have done it before, but I don't take the koozie off, so I put it in with the koozie, which is like kind of dampens the effects, I think. And then, yeah, I always feel like it tastes flatter after that, which
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not gonna. If you put it on the counter, put it in the fridge, it's gonna become the same amount of flat, theoretically, right? I'm sure there's some kind of like temperature effect on the release of carbon dioxide or something way too fancy for us. But
ooh, I like this. Is it too fancy for us? Let's get an article out.
But yeah, I feel like you take it out of the fridge and it's just like something about it just doesn't seem right the rest of the time you're drinking it. So yes, just drop it on the counter, come back, and then hey, maybe it's upper 70 degrees or something.
And I think some of our listeners are just sitting here like asking themselves, they're like, why don't these two assholes just like chug it before they put their kid down for bed and then get a fresh one? But I mean, being a parent it's kind of like running the marathon. This is not a sprint, it's slow and steady. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we put our kid down at like 7:30, so I'm not, like you said, it's a marathon. I'm not trying to start the sprint at 7:30, so there's plenty of time afterwards to finish it.
Yeah, and plus if you're not have kids and you're at a pool, it's inevitable, in the weather we have in Houston, your beer is going to get hot no matter if you have a koozie, no matter what you try, unless you're shotgunning them. Halfway through that beer, it's going to start getting a little warm.
So what do you think about moving on to contestant number 4 here, the Amber?
Oh, let's do that. Was this the first beer St. Arnold made or one of the first?
I think it was, yeah.
I'm surprised they've rotated so many of their staples out. I mean, I know Fancy Lawnmower has been around forever, but I feel like this Amber's got to be up there, if not the first, one of the first.
Yeah, it was definitely on the original rotation.
I don't know, man. I think malt was supposed to win this category, but I'm not feeling this amber as much as I am the lighter ones.
I'm pleasantly surprised across the entire spectrum. Like, all of these held up pretty well. But yeah, if it's going to be warm, then I want a little bit of a cleaner finish, and the maltiness kind of finishes like almost a little syrupy when it's warm.
Yeah, I think this one officially would not drink warm. You heard it here first.
Dang. Yeah, all right. I'm surprised too. So, I mean, personally, yeah, amber would rank third for me, just ahead of the art car. What do you think about that?
I'm putting the amber at the bottom of the bottom.
I'd
rather some warm hops than I would this amber. I don't know. I'm surprised that is the complete opposite that I thought it would be.
Dang. All right. I think the only thing that's salvaging it for me above the art car is like I commented on, I like the sweetness on the finish of the Lawnmower, and obviously the amber with the malt gives you some of that sweetness that the art car doesn't have, and I think that's the only reason why it's still ahead for me. So that leaves the final showdown between Lawnmower and H-Town.
Yeah, I've got them up side by side. See who can take home the crown. I think it's been cooling as we've been sitting in here.
Yeah.
Should have done this episode outside.
That would have been appropriate to do like a poolside episode.
Oh, missed opportunities.
Missed opportunities. Story of our life.
The mics just don't like that outside noise.
Yeah.
As someone who has to edit, that's the biggest pain in the ass.
That's not my concern, though. That's your problem.
Thanks a lot. Damn it, Ryan. I think you're right. I think the Kolsch edges out the H-Town Pills just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it. Like I said, the sweetness on the finish, but also I mentioned it right when we were pouring them. Kind of the earthy aroma of the H-Town Pills, which it's not a bad aroma, but I'm trying to think of a way to say this that doesn't sound bad. It throws off your expectations when you go to take a sip.
Let's clarify that all of these beers we like cold.
We like all these beers cold. We actually are pleasantly surprised about them warm. Yeah, it's just a little bit different of an aroma than I would have expected. And it's just the littlest details like that make a difference. So you mentioned a little bit ago about beers poolside. This is a super random question, but do you have like a pool koozie or like a koozie that you know you can go to if you're going to be going to the pool?
I don't have a good floaty koozie. I've got a good poolside koozie that's one of those like super insulated fancy one that keeps it nice and cold. But I don't have a good like getting in the pool koozie. It's just the random ones that get wet. How about you? You got like a boat koozie?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I used to have one with like the neck lanyard.
Oh.
Which is like, yeah, it's super gimmicky, but it was always, I always thought
Does it light
like,
up
really
too?
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bejeweled, bedazzled.
Bejeweled.
No, I do have like a Yeti koozie that would like screw on, but then you end up like drinking Michelob Ultra and those just like slide right in and out. It like doesn't work. So I don't use it as much as I probably should, but we do have.
Is that the Oklahoma State koozie?
Yeah.
Okay, I have an A&M. I think we got it for Christmas.
I think it was a gift. Yeah.
So that's the one I was thinking about. I just couldn't remember if it was Yeti or if it was like the fake Yeti, like a Fetty situation there.
Yeah. But then we also ended up, I think what like most people do is I think we had like our wedding koozies that were like a neoprene, and they're actually like a little bit smaller. So like you really have to force a can in there, but also it's small enough to fit on like a Michelob Ultra and not like just fall off if you don't hold it. I'm outing myself as a Michelob Ultra drinker when I'm in the pool. But
this is a safe space.
Yeah. So not only do they fit all the different can sizes, but also we ended up with like 100 extras. So, you know, if it gets wet and gets stained or whatever, you just toss it and get another one. So that's another nice thing about it too. Yeah,
you're not going in with your unique koozie that you got at a brewery that you don't want anyone else to touch. You're grabbing the stuff you picked up at a bar that you don't care if it gets a little saturated with water.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. We all have a koozie collection, and whether you want to admit it or not, you like some of them more than others, and you kind of protect those koozies, even though they're worthless.
Koozies are serious business, man.
So we've moved a couple times here around Houston, but yeah, every time we move, it's like there's a checklist of stuff when we're trying to lower the amount of stuff that we have, and one of them's always get rid of some of our koozies, half of our koozies, and the other one's beer glasses. I just naturally accumulate beer glasses, and every time we move, I have to get rid of like legit. The first time I moved, I had a whole cabinet dedicated to them, and I legit gave away like over 50 glasses, and that was just half of them.
Oh my God.
I used to have a pool table in my first house, and we literally covered the entire pool table with glasses.
So this is an interesting topic. So summer beers. Last year, I believe it was last year, Adam and I, maybe it was 2 years ago. Shit, I don't remember. Adam and I did our favorite summer beer. And so in that episode, the Live Oak pre-war Pilsner was our favorite summer beer a couple summers ago. And but this year, now that we're starting summer, I know your choices could change in the heat of the summer, but going into this year, what do you think your go-to pool beer is going to be?
So I would initially go straight for some kind of pills, but I think over the last year I've come around on saisons so much that now I'm kind of keeping my eye out for new saisons, and I haven't found what that's going to be yet. But now that it's heating up, I've got my eyes open. I'm looking for them.
Dude, I love me some saisons, so I'm with you there. But the one I'm going for, just going into the preseason here for the summer, I got to go with a Little Snack by 11 Below. I just had one in the pool earlier, and it is just still a fantastic Pilsner. So that one's probably going to be my go-to until someone dethrones them.
Well, sir, you will be happy to hear I bought a 6-pack of Little Snack yesterday and was enjoying them outside at a friend's first birthday party.
Oh, it's
a friend's kid's first birthday party.
Did your beer get warm, though?
Good thing with the Little Snack is it wasn't around long enough to get warm.
Yeah, crushable. So I think we're going to do a little bit of a recap on the H-Town Brewery Challenge. But before we do, I think we need to recap top 4. So we both agreed Kolsch, then Pils, and then we had a split on 3rd and 4. You went number 3 was Amber, and I went number 3 was Art Car. So we lined up pretty well. So, fear not, you can drink a warm beer and you'll still have a good time.
Yeah, like none of these are bad. So I guess that's an endorsement for St. Arnold's. Like coming off of last week, we can gladly say, give us money if you want. Sponsorships are available. So speaking of saisons, I have a little H-Town Brewery Challenge update for you.
Oh.
I was downtown the other day, last weekend, and had a little bit of free time before I had to head home. So I stopped in at Urban South HTX and they had a fresh hop saison, and it was delicious.
Is that the same one you and I were drinking a while back, or is this a different variant?
I think it was a different variant.
Okay. They've made some really good saisons there.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think so.
Yeah, it was like the typical saison flavor, but the hops, I don't remember exactly what hop they used, but it was like just a pop of berry flavor, and it was so good. It finished almost kind of like the lingering taste of berry candy. It had this lingering berry flavor that was just delicious. I was in a little bit of a hurry, so I just got a taster of it, but I've finished the taster, and I had that moment of man, do I get another taster, or do I have to leave right now, or can I get a little bit more?
Dude, I'm all in for saisons this year.
Yeah, but Urban South HTX, kind of a funky, quirky vibe that's super cool. It's super bright in their tap room with a whole bunch of bright colors. They got it sounds weird, a ton of roller skates hanging above the bar, and just a bunch of quirky stuff. But it's really nice and cool. They have some picnic tables outside with a little grass area, so kids could run around. It's not super kid friendly just because there's no real activities or anything, and it's a lot of high tables. Yeah, it's in town, so you wouldn't expect it. As a 2 cheek challenge recap, there are changing tables in the bathroom.
Glad we covered that. I think Urban South HTX may be the brightest brewery. What do you think? When you go in, it is very bright. There's lots of color. It's just, it kind of wows you when you go in. You're oh, this doesn't look like a typical brewery.
It really is. It's an incredible amount of natural light. It's all glass front. So it's really, really light in there. And then they have a ton of bright colors. And anything that's not painted in bright colors is painted white. So it's everything is just really, really light. And so it makes for a really cool atmosphere. Like we said, we want it to feel different from a bar, and this doesn't feel like a bar at all. It feels like a tap room in a good way.
You walk in, you can get a fruited sour too. There's all those colors,
Yeah.
you can get a fruited sour. There.
Yeah. If you imagine the spilled cans, like that's what their tap room looks like.
So, my wife and I went on a date night, and we swung by Texas Leaguer Brewing. And I've had quite a few of their beers, and actually we've done them in a couple of our challenges on previous episodes, but I'd never been to the tap room before. So if you've been around the area, you notice all their cans have a baseball theme with their name, and I've always really loved their can art and the names of their beers. I love the baseball theme. And that, their on-site location did not fail to continue that, right? They had big screen TVs. It felt like a place you could go watch a game. Real open concept, nice patio, quite a few beers on tap. So we had a good time there. They had a food truck out. I had never really jumped into their IPAs, but I've noticed they've kind of dipped into the IPA market with some of their Leaguer series where they changed the hops out. So, I've had some of those that, that they like seem to be getting, better and better. So I'm kind of pulling for these guys to keep going with it. I'm just waiting to find that beer that I fall in love with. Being in the suburbs, you can bring kids out to that place. It's just set up real wide open, big restrooms, changing tables, the whole thing. So you can't be in the suburbs and not be kid friendly. That's like a kiss of death.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, take us home with our last one.
All right, I talked about how I just stopped by Urban South. On the way to Urban South, I stopped by Platypus Brewing, which is just a couple minutes away. It's like an Australian-inspired brewery. So all their stuff's like unique. It's a little bit different. So like I went and they had just come out with, actually, coincidentally enough, they came out with a new like Kolsch style ale. So I went ahead and got that, and it tasted just like a little. I don't know if they use different like yeast or different malts or something. I don't know what it is, but it had just like a little bit of like a different, more of a malt backbone than you would expect from a normal Kolsch. But it was super interesting. The tap room was very cool. They have like a huge covered outdoor area with TVs and stuff. That also has like a roll-up windowed garage door to the inside, and it kind of feels like a bar inside. But outside, it's got like picnic tables. Like where it's not covered, it's got picnic tables with like turfed area, and they have like lawn games and like outdoor dartboards and stuff. So it looks like it'd be a cool way to spend some time. And like I said with Urban South, it's in the city, so it's not like the most kid-friendly place, but it's definitely more kid-friendly than Urban South with those lawn games and stuff. So they also have a kitchen on site, so it's like you can get any food you want there, which Urban South doesn't have a kitchen, and I don't remember ever seeing a food truck there.
There's not like a routine food truck, but I think they come out for events and stuff like that.
Although there is a barbecue spot a couple down from Urban South, so you could always get food that way. But yeah, like I said, interesting beers that are all just like a little bit different from really anything else you find.
Are you saying they get all their materials from down under?
I should have done a little background research on what exactly they do that makes them the way that they are, but I got nothing for you, man. In true Beering Ain't Easy fashion, just slightly underprepared.
Funny throwback story for Beering Ain't Easy. Adam and I, the first, I think 6 or 7 episodes we recorded at my wife's business, Sesh Co-working, and they had a little podcast room. And before we went in on our own materials and stuff like that, we were recording there. And I specifically remember drinking Platypus, their pale ale, when we did like one of our first episodes. Was that the Freckled Dingo? Is that their pale ale?
I think it's Speckled Dingo.
Oh, is it speckled? Freckled, speckled. And for the listeners out there that listen to us go through these reviews, I remind you, we do have our spreadsheet out there, and it's on crossthestreamsmedia.com. Go to our show page, and we have a tab for the H-Town Brewery Challenge. And so I want you to stay tuned. I know it seems like sometimes we're all hyped with the breweries, but when it comes to the end of this challenge, we're going to give you all of our top of the tops, right? Top beers, top breweries. So we all have our opinions. We want to, we're going to support all the breweries we can because we want Houston to become the best brewery city in the world. Really, that's what we're here for, right, Ryan? I mean,
hype beast.
But we all have our favorites, so stay tuned for that. All right, well, I think that kind of wraps us up today. We got everyone current on the challenge. First, I'll just say that, if you're out at that pool or you're at your kid's birthday party and you got that warm beer out there, don't fear. If you pick the right beer from the start and you select the right one from the cooler, and today that was either the Culture or Pilsner from St. Arnold right now, you pick that right beer, you will be in for a good afternoon and not have to dump that beer in shame in front of all your friends and family. Ryan, would you like to take us out?
Yeah, don't be that guy. So we did find which ones we liked the best warm today, but to be honest, now that we've finally gone through all of them, I'm ready to go grab a cold one. What about you?
Oh yeah, cold's where it's at.
All right, cool. We'll see y'all next time.
Let's head to the pool. This has been a Beering Ain't Easy production out of Houston, Texas. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook or at our website at crossthestreamsmedia.com, where you can find our podcast and all the other great sister podcasts on our network.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.